upper left, and it opens the purple 5 up. But the 5's not really in much danger here, so I don't know if it's necessary. Yeah, I think this is a smart play. It lends directly to the 5. Phil, a few months back, actually, I shouldn't say, well, it's probably been a month ago, Jason and Ara, Jason's better half, they had a big thunderstorm at their house. A tree fell through the roof. They didn't know it. Flooded the entire home, so they have been dealing with a lot back there. Luckily, the insurance is going to help them take care of it like they should, but he's been dealing with a lot, I would assume, mentally and probably emotionally as well. They're running around, living, outside of the house, and I think it had a little something to do with how Jason played in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, undoubtedly, it's definitely affected his preparation, not just for Saudi, but for this. I think it was actually multiple trees came down on the house and, yeah, caused all kinds of horrible damage. And he was telling me yesterday that repairs might take up to 6 months. He's a little quicker when it comes to running racks. It's about 6 minutes, or even less than that. So this is what's going on right now. Over on table 2, Andy Goldstein. Now he's taken the first rack from Craig Lucas, who's from here in Florida, originally from the Dallas area in Texas. We'll be keeping a close eye on that one. Lots of second round matches being played at the moment. It's one of those days where we'll have some loser side action as well. And bear in mind, on the loser side, all matches are a race to 8. That's where Andy Goldstein is playing at the moment. The only loser's side match where it's a race to 9 is loser's qualification. We've also got some smattering of winners qualification pool today.
I tell you what, his break shot is as good as it gets right now for him. He's going to be thrilled with that result. The last 3 at-bats, or the last 2 at-bats, have been great for him.
So, Scott, what's with the chalk? It's quite obviously not the norm. Is it pink? Red?
It looked to be pink. No, that's not pink. That's gray. I think that Edwards is pink. Or maybe it's the lighting, Phil. I'm not exactly certain.
When he broke off, it seemed to be pink, and now it doesn't look that way at all.
No, I agree. But I thought I'd saw this a game ago. But maybe it was Edwards, but maybe it was just the lighting that fooled us. Getting to play in Saudi, though, Jason has been so close to winning something in the last year and a half, I think it's been. This might be a good event for him. I think he's a little bit more settled. Just needs to get well above the 6. I like it. Stay simple. Less cue ball movement, the better.
And because he's such a wonderful potter, hence the name Eagle Eye, his emphasis on shape isn't quite as important as for other players.
Yeah, he just looks calm and collected out there. Obviously, the break will help you there in that department, but all good signs if you're in Jason Shaw's camp.
Played golf here just down the road, enjoyed himself, but now it's all business. And he knows the extent of his opponent's ability, so this is the perfect start for Jason Shaw, who leads by 3 racks to 0. Shaw's big individual success on the World 9-Ball Tour was in Hanoi a couple of years ago, and funnily enough, it was the best tournament on the CV of Edward Koyunjin as well, because last year the youngster got to the last 16 there. Had plenty of experience this time around in Sarajevo he got an invite to the Premier League pool. He finished 13th there, so didn't really pull up any trees, but Scott, you were involved in that, and to play all of those top players over what was basically a week, you can't buy that experience.
You're exactly right. And his tip right there, Phil, looks pink. So maybe he switched up on us and trying to trick us a little bit, but neither that nor there. Look at this again. Another look at the blue. And another look at the one just rifling into the side. Boy, what a great starter this is. Oh, he has hit it wide. It fell. They say in the States, Katie bar the door, but boy, maybe a little steep here. He'd like to have been flatter. He's got those soft hands. He can hold, but he doesn't want to have to go back and forth. That was a little weak. Everything opened up if he got good on this 4. Sweet recovery.
He's just blessed with abundant natural talent. And when he was installed as the European captain for the Mosconi Cup last year, I wondered whether that might detract from his abilities on the table during that event. Not at all.
He was an amazing leader, in my opinion. He did a great job there. And he controls that event when he's on the table. He controls the crowd. There is nobody better in that arena, at least this day and age.
Quite simply, one-way traffic. Jason Shaw, not yet a sure thing, but he's going that way. He leads 4-0. Now, he is a former US Open champion. That's the individual highlight of what's been a golden career. And talking about the LiveSB.io US Open, that takes place at the Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City from August the 18th to the 23rd. And what a field will assemble. All of the top 25 in the World 9-Ball Tour rankings will be there. 14 former champions, 94 players from America, 50 nationalities will be represented, and the prize money, substantial, record-breaking, $100,000 to the winner from a total purse of $500,000. And I can tell you, the draw was made yesterday, and Jason Shaw in the first round will play Barry West Jr. There was a snooker player called Barry West, but this one is from America. The snooker player was from Yorkshire, so definitely not the same person. You can check out all of the draw on WNTLivescores.com. I can tell you there's a very intriguing match involving youth and experience. Earl Strickland will start off against Felix Vogel. And Fedor Gorsht takes on someone called Reginald Jackson. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. It really is great to have so many Americans in the field. Of course, it isn't Mr. October, it's another Reginald Jackson. But yeah, 94 US players, and I think that underlines, Scott, the vibrancy and the buoyant nature of pool in this country at the moment.
Yeah, you just covered everything right there, Phil, and it was all real good. I spoke to a lady last night. I actually watched her play her match. Of course, she didn't win, but I said, you know what? It takes a lot of heart to play this, but it's a great experience. And she said, I'll play every one of them I can. And I think that's kind of the idea behind this, right? For $250, you can mix it up with the best players on the planet. Listen, great players don't make fun of people that don't play great pool. They understand you have a normal life, you have jobs, you have things to do. We think it's awesome, and we think that the experience that you're getting is invaluable. So big props to the people that don't play pool for a living, that show up and do their best.
It's a little bit like the concept of Pro-Am golf. But this is the real thing. It's not the Pro-Am the day before the tournament begins, it is the tournament itself. So while we were talking US Open, Shaw missed what was a tricky 3-ball into a blind pocket. Now, can Kyonjin make some kind of footprint on the match?
Yeah, and will that ball come back to haunt Jason? He'd like to have come back just a tick further, but he'll be fine due to where the 7 is. Obviously, the 8 does not hurt things either. We are playing all ball fouls, meaning if he tickles a ball or touches the 8, that is a foul. He's aware of that, as you see. Nowhere near it. I like what he's done this rack, though. He's settled for distance versus trying to get perfect. It's done him well. Stay smooth here. You just don't get too quick, right? You could pinch it. I like the closed bridge, personally. The cue doesn't go off in the hand. A lot of these guys will use an open bridge.
Well, he didn't really get hold of that one, and consequently there's a question mark on this 9.
Yeah, you saw him go back and forth with the open and closed bridge. Listen, one of the reasons great players use the closed bridge is for distance and power. If you're using a low ball, recommend it. Is he going to the side here? Oh, he has missed this and by quite some margin, so lucky days for Jason Shaw.
And Shaw eats these shots for breakfast. Oh, but hold on a minute.
Yeah, it's lunchtime, Phil. He just slightly overcut that ball. It's shocking that he didn't get it down.
And we're always looking for turning points in these matches. I just wonder whether that might be one of those quintessential turning points when, had the 9 gone in and Shaw had led 5-0, you're looking at the end being pretty close. Now, I think Kyonjin might have some encouragement. Also in the second round, the US Mosconi Cup captain from last year, Skylar Woodward, has just started out against Sean Wilkie. That's on table 3, another of the WNT.TV streaming matches. Woodward leading 2-0. Billy Thorpe, US Mosconi Cup member, he's 2-1 up on Aaron Rangoon Annan. And again, the Mosconi Cup theme, Chris Reinhold, 2-1 up on Tyler Steyer.
Yeah, so Shaw had a couple opportunities that rack. So 2 big blunders. I think early it was the 2, maybe the 3 that he missed, and then obviously a reprieve with the 9. Edward, living on the edge, would like to get out here. You've just got to avoid the traffic. Can you get out past the 9? That's the goal, whether you come inside it or between the 8 and 9. I think the 8 and 9 is a little more natural. He just doesn't want to be too steep on the 3 because of where the pink 4 is. Once again, he's chose distance, but I really like it. And there's a good look. Andy Goldstein right there on the left.
He's doing well, he's 2-0 up. And what a classy shot that was with the application of English.
Yeah, I don't know that we've seen Edward settled yet. Obviously, we're only into game 6, but I kind of like the way he moves the cue ball. He keeps it real simple.
Well, he's got to a couple of last 16s in smaller World 9 Ball Tour ranking events stateside this year in Seattle and at the McDermott Open. The McDermott Open played in Wallingford, Connecticut, which is the adopted home state of Jason Shaw.
Yeah, well, the Q-tip definitely raised up there. He was trying to pinch back a little bit. Now he's below the 50. I think he's got to snatch back above the left side and over here back to the right. Yeah, and that's what caused the miss. It was obviously the shot prior that caused the miss on the green 6. Tip come up just prior to contact and you lost the low spin. This is no picnic.
Well, I was bigging Jason up earlier and he let me down badly, so I think on this one I'm going to say 50-50, maybe even 40-60.
Yeah, the position is really why Phil just gave those percentages. You know, position on the 8 might come better with a bank. I mean, you could elevate and try and dice this into the upper left, but boy, oh boy, it could go bad real quickly. Yeah, I believe he's banking this. Well, this is the problem. He might have got away with it, Phil.
For Jason Shaw to miss a pot by that distance and to make such a hash of it just underlines what Scott was saying about the tariff of the shot. It was so high.
Yeah, just like his cue. I mean, he was just elevated so much in the back arm. It's tough to dig on the ball and expect to know where it's going. That was too thick by Edward. So Jason fortunate to have another look here. Or a good look, I should say. Yeah, in the same pocket, Phil is eating him for breakfast.
Yeah, suddenly, after those first 4 racks went so smoothly, he's looking edgy.
He needs to bury this ball. It really is important for Edward to get moving here. You can just feel Jason gonna come on if he gets another opportunity. Boy, they continue to overcut to the upper right. It is common on fresh cloth, clean balls, right? These balls are polished, it's first match. So when these guys miss a ball, it's typically to the thin side. Not to mention in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, well, if I miss this ball, I want to miss it thin. But you don't want to think about missing this ball. It's the 7 ball that needs to go down. It's Gary's natural position. Thick, then thin, thin, then thick. What do they got to do, Phil? Oh, my.
Well, after his very ambitious attempt to pot it earlier and coming out safe, I think Shaw can't really complain. Horrible cueing this. Very good. Very good indeed.
Yeah, from where he was there, really, just to cinch that ball is very good. I can't disagree by any means. So he just feathers this in. Boy, it's tough to do. It's not frozen. Struggling. I think it all really started last game when he missed the 3 fill.
Yeah, what a messy end this has been to this rack. Surely now, Kyonjin is going to nail it. So 4-0 for Jason Shaw becomes 4-2.
That rack doesn't deserve a clap.
If you didn't hear what Jason said, he said that rack does not deserve a clap, and I think he's absolutely right. He spent some time, didn't he, sharing a house with Earl Strickland when he first came to the United States, and that was one of Earl's tricks, having a chat with the crowd. So the majority of these matches out there at the moment are on the loser's side. Just to reiterate, it is a race to 8. Andy Goldstein, he came here with the intention of winning his first match on the World 9-Ball Tour. He has received a walkover in the past, but obviously doesn't include that. Well, right now, he's 3-0 up on Craig Lucas. Mind you, he was 3-0 up against John Francisco in the US Open last year on the loser's side. Ended up dropping the next 8 racks.
For those of you in the States that aren't real familiar with Andy Goldstein, he's a great guy, great character. Has a show in the UK called Talk Sports, and it's pretty entertaining. Get a chance, check it out.
Yeah, TalkSport Radio is massive in the UK. It gets wonderful viewing figures and, listening figures. And Andy's got the drive time show, so he's right at the top of the league in terms of the folks tuning in. And he's got quite a history with Q Sports. He was, if you might recall, the presenter for quite a few Moscone Cups, and he used to do the snooker on Sky as well.
I'm paying attention to Jason's body language here. I mean, he's obviously got the wand to the middle. Extension running down. Just got it to the corner. I said the middle. I didn't know it was free to the corner. I think he just chips this over and crashes into the 6 using the 7 and 3. Oh, he's double kissed it. That's pretty poor, I gotta be honest. He had plenty of room to cross that ball over. He had a big window to run into the 6. He will not be happy with that result.
It's all gone ragged, and it's up to Kyonjin to take advantage.
Yeah, it will be the 4-8 next, I believe. And wiggled it in. Now directly over the 9 again. All ball fouls. You cannot touch the 9. So I think he's just going to drift this in. Take a little steeper look at the 5, but it shouldn't be any problem. Look at this look here. How close can you be? Very good.
He beat Mark Muir 9-0 in his first match yesterday. Shaw came through 9-4 against Panama's Alicio Omar Marin Pinto. So this is to make it into winners' qualification, where awaiting the winner will be the Filipino Marvin Assis.
Yeah, we've all been there. Well, I haven't been there as much as a lot of great players, but Jason starts out with a 4-0 lead, right? Everything really just flowing. A couple of blunders, and he knows that his opponent can play, 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, and the next thing you know, it really gets away from you because your opponent starts to get comfortable. And once again, unless he kind of elevates or digs on this, if he just floats it with a high ball, it's easy to be missed to the thin side.
Very much right back in this. Edward Koyonjian now trails only 4-3, and he's breaking off in rack 8. That's going to be coming up in just a short time. So while the balls are being replaced, let's give you the very latest scores. These are on the one-loss side. Holger Wehr of Germany, 2-1 up on Jerry Arvelaez. Michael Dunn from the USA, leading his fellow countryman Rich Funk 3-0. Satish Ramadar and Eddie Vonderau 2-2. Ivica Putnik, who's played in the World Cup in the past, he's 2-2 with Sergio Rivas. Qian Qingzhu has raced into a 5-0 lead over Carmen Cordell. Michael Schneider from Switzerland, 4-1 up on Dang Win Jiet Lam. And Cal Boll 3-2 on Mardi Ali. I'll give you the round 2 scores after this rack.
Yeah, I believe Chris Reinhold is up 4-1 on Tyler Steyer. It's not a surprise, but, Yeah, and that's a good look. Crashed into the 9. He's got a great look at the 2, and this is kind of what I was touching on, right? One thing can lead to another, and before you blink, you're down in the match. And that's not going to happen after this rack, but it could happen going forward. Wants to get an angle here where he doesn't have to connect with the 9. 5 is up top, 4 is down low here.
When Shaw missed the 9 ball from distance to go 5-0 up, I did suggest it could possibly be a turning point, but there was no real conviction on my part. I never thought it would turn out like this. The whole match has shifted.
Yeah, and he's fallen flat here, but it's definitely shifted. There's no question. He's hit that clean. It's as good as you could do, really. Didn't want to finish on the rail. Probably going to have to run into the 8 once he is on the 6. I think he's going to finish towards the center of the table here. Maybe a little. I think he can hold, actually. Just don't get too cute with a lot of inside. Yeah, now if you do, I thought he might get a little further if you do have to connect with the 8. Just make sure it doesn't come up in front of the 7. I think you can avoid it.
Well, what we're seeing here underlines the fickle nature of 9-ball pool. You can never ever be complacent. Not saying that Shaw was, of course, but leads can be eroded quickly.
Yeah, at a 4-0 deficit, Edward just made it 4 up real quick. With help to Shaw.
Yeah, all square. How about that? Now, he's opposing Mosconi Cup captain from last year. Right here, actually, at the Carib Royale Resort. Skylar Woodward. He's going nicely against Sean Wilkie, leading 4-1. This is also second round action. Billy Thorpe, 4-1 up on Aaron Rangoon Anand. as Scott mentioned, Chris Reinholdt, Moskenica player of the past, and a very capable sort. He's 4-1 up on Tyler Steyer. Steyer actually got through last night. Hill against David Hopkin from the UK. 981.
Yeah, not real familiar with David. Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow, that could have been devastating. The 9 threatening the left side multiple times. Yeah.
That's as close as you can get to a golden break without it actually falling.
Yeah, does he twist up behind the 8 here, try to get nice and tight? No, he just keeps it simple, which I like. He's done this multiple times now. You and I've touched about that in Saudi Arabia. I think it's something that Gorst does very well. Keeps the defense simple but effective, knows his percentages. I think this is really effective.
Funnily enough, in Hanoi last year, Fedor Gorst laid a snooker, a hook. It was just impossible to hit. The poor guy he was up against, a local, he looked and looked and looked some more. No shot clock. And he just couldn't work out an escape. It was the most extraordinary hook you've ever seen in your life.
I don't think he's going to get away with this. Pretty certain Edward can trim this in. 3 does play to the upper right. Just avoid the 8 here. Oh, this is going to be perfect. What a great hit. Work left to do. I don't believe the 4 passes the 5. Maybe it does. He's not acting like it doesn't. Must be able to thread it by there. Wow. What a turn of events, Phil. I think you were spot on when you mentioned possible turning point.
Has the 4 come out to a position of availability? It has.
Completely fooled me there. I had no idea he was playing a combination. He never led me to believe it with his body language. Didn't look to eye it up or anything.
This is still early days, Scott. We're basically halfway through, aren't we? But I'll tell you what, and this is no detraction from Kyonjun's status, but considering that Shaw was 4-0 up and had the 9 ball for 5-0, if Kyonjun did win this match, it would be the biggest upset of the tournament so far for me.
Yeah, early days is right. So we'll obviously get Edward to 5, but he's still got to get to 9 prior to Shaw. Pressure will mount. He looks pretty good so far.
This is primetime viewing in Indonesia. No doubt many of Edwards' fans will be watching, and they will be delighted with the scoreline. Jason Shaw won't be delighted. He'll be daunted. 5-4 down. So these are the matches going on right now. I think 27 tables currently in occupation. It's a fantastic arena, this, by the way. And these 27 tables are not shoehorned in. There's plenty of space around them, and that's a good thing because you need the space for all the spectators who are here. The crowds on day one were superb, and they're building nicely today as well. If you're watching this back in the UK and you're wondering how Andy Goldstein is faring, well, it's okay. He has lost the fourth rack to Craig Lucas, but Goldstein leading 3-1.
Okay, he is dry. Cue ball got a big kiss. Otherwise, I think Jason's got a great look at the one. He has a look at the one as it is, but there's the kiss. What's he doing here? Is he just drifting down behind the 8? Yeah, he was trying, but this is no good. And I felt like it was tough to get behind the 8.
Well, the wheels are off at the moment, aren't they? Eagle Eye grounded.
Yeah, you almost get the sense that Edward's going to have to do the same thing for Shaw that Shaw has done for Edward. He's been known to take distance over getting close or missing the ball, so does he do that here? He tried to punch out and hit it great. Very good. Under the steam as well, the beep's going off. Good look at the fans early here on day 2. Been spectacular. That's a good sign. This is absolutely perfect. Starting to get comfortable, Phil.
Yes, to the uninitiated, getting to the last 16s of World 9-Ball Tour ranking events might not seem earth-shattering, but for someone like Kyeonjin to do it on more than one occasion, 3 times in fact, I think just underlines the potential he has. And as I mentioned before, Indonesia is an ever-growing pool nation. Not dissimilar to Vietnam, actually, in that regard. And if he were to do well here and claim the scalp of Jason Shaw, that would reverberate in Jakarta and elsewhere.
These are great signs for him, I know that. I mean, he has fallen absolutely perfect here as well. Got through the green 6. So sweet there. That's really going to make him feel good if he can finish here. I mean, this is actually almost stunning what's happened. Shaw leading 4-0. Edward misses the 9. Shaw misses it right back, and now Shaw's about to be down 2 games, Phil.
And I feel personally responsible, but because I said he eats the 9 for breakfast and he missed it. Commentators curse, and maybe Shaw in this match is going to be cursed because after winning the first 4, he's lost the next 6. And Edward Kyeonjin is now just 3 racks away from making it to winners' qualification and sending Shaw to the 1-loss side of the draw. Just a reminder, Shane Van Boning is up next on this table. He's going to be in second round action. Chris Reinholdt having a great time against Tyler Steyer, leading 5-1. Worrying times for Jason Shaw, though. Billy Thorpe 5-2 up on Aaron Ragunaran. And now Skylar Woodward, just as I speak, 5-2 over Sean Wilkie.
Okay, the break has only gotten better for Edward as he's gone on in this match, but the 2 has no pocket here. All types of options. It looks like he's going to use the 9 and 4. Very good. Very good. Jason get past the 3, sneaking the cue ball 2 rails tight behind the 2 on the right side of the table.
And here you're seeing the decision by Matchroom to give Edward an invitation to the Premier League pool being vindicated. That's why they gave him the invitation. They knew just how good he could be and the potential he possessed.
Interesting decision there. Not saying it was the worst by any means, but just interesting. This is a nice hit. I see the jump cue.
Yeah, I think the last decision from Karamanjian, we have a phrase in snooker, he was asking for trouble.
Yeah, I like that, Phil. I like everything you say. All right, upper left is where he'd love it to be. Well, this is going to work out. Pays to hit him, they say. Could have easily lost the cue ball in the upper right, but this is what happens when one player's in control. Kind of lets it slip away. Here's another look. Definitely hit it on the correct side. If he hits it fat, he knows that it's going to 2-rail out and get back down table. A lot of people think it's luck, but these guys play it that way. Watch out, 9.
What a call from Scott Frost. And now it could be a turning point in the other direction. Look at this, like a rabbit down a hole. Off the 2, into the 9. Thank you very much. Just what Jason Shaw required. That might get the juices flowing again. I described him as an inspirational player early, and that definitely applies. It applies both ways, actually. He can have these really hot spells where he's seemingly unbeatable, but on the other side of the coin, he can go into a poor spell where he's vulnerable to defeat.
Yeah, well said. And oftentimes when he's vulnerable to defeat, the opponent is the one that senses that with Shaw. And that obviously doesn't help things. Once again, the break has been on point. That's not the part that suffered. Just a couple of missed balls. Obviously one being that big 9-ball in game number 5. Boy, do you risk sliding under the 3 here. Oh, such good touch. Such good touch.
Shaw needs to rekindle that magic that saw him win the Most Valuable Player Award at the Mosconi Cup on 3 occasions, 2020, 2021 and last year.
Well, it was 2 years ago at Ali Pali when he, I know you'll never forget it, Phil, when he ran that rack, and it wasn't an easy rack, and every single ball Jason Shaw was talking to the crowd and pumping them up, and I had just never experienced anything like it in my entire life. And he ran that rack, Phil.
Yeah, he's one of those players, just to reiterate, the difference between his best and his worst is a chasm, because he's so good when he's on it. not liking that one. It was a really good pot, but the cue ball just got away slightly.
You know, this is doable. You'd love to just stop right there. Don't have to hit this real hard. This is okay. I mean, he can get this done. Cue ball tracks naturally. You just got to avoid the 7, obviously. But I feel like the 4's off enough where he can actually cut it just a little bit thicker if he needs to. Oh, sweet.
Plays those shots so well. Those down the length of the long rail. Few are better. Now it might be a tight squeeze here for the 6 past the 8.
What a big shot on the 4, this rack.
Eagle Eye swoops and draws level. It is 6-6. Big finish in prospect. Now, talking about the Mosconi Cup, this year's event will take place at its now traditional home in the UK. Once every 2 years, we rock up at the Alexandra Palace in North London. The dates this time will be December 3 to 6. Will Europe again defend? Can the USA, with those massive players, Shane Van Boening and Fedor Gorst at the head of their roster, can they come good and overcome not just a fine European team, but also a hostile crowd? It's sport's biggest party. There's no doubt about that. But the Americans for the last few years haven't been in party mood. They want to be party poopers.
I'll tell you what, it's as good as it gets right there. Really getting into it with some power too, and you know that by how quick the one's entering the side. It's the best way to tell. You can just sliver this with an inside ball here. You just don't want to catch it thick. And he caught it a little thick. That's why the cue ball's out towards the center more, but it's fine. Nothing wrong with going to the lower left corner on the purple 5.
Shaw, originally from Glasgow, now resident in Connecticut, 36 years of age. Oh, can you believe that? It was a really quick stroke.
I think it's a sign of not being comfortable, not being settled, right? And might not look that quick there, but Phil's 100% right. He got down on the ball and was a lot quicker than normal. Takes a little extra time, a couple extra seconds, but did not do it there. Typically trying to force something, maybe a bit uncomfortable.
Well, that was definitely the most glaring mistake he's made in the match.
Okay, there he used the close bridge. He had a shot similar on the 8 early in this match. Didn't get the cue ball back enough. Used the open bridge. This time didn't get it back enough. Now over the 9. Boy, does he give it back to Shaw. He's got to bury this ball. The problem is position not guaranteed by any means. All ball fouls. Can't touch the 8. Can't touch the 9. I think you've just got to elevate and pound this in. You might be able to draw back. Wow. Big time shot there, Phil.
wasn't it just? And he'll need another solid effort here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big-time shot from where he was. To get the cue ball where it finished there, looks like he doesn't settle with his bridge at times when it's a closed bridge. Just looks uncomfortable sometimes when he's down on the ball, and he'll adjust his bridge, but he won't get off the shot. You don't see that too often. Look at this. He might have got away with it, Phil.
Well, in 2010, Jason Shaw won the World Black Ball Championship. Has the black ball in this rack. Saved his bacon.
Going to the carom again.
Is this going to develop like rack 6? Really nervy on the last few balls.
Yeah, I think you've got to take on the bank here to the lower right. Just don't overcut it. Well, he did overcut it. Did he get away with it?
No obvious tell as he walked away from the table. I think if Shaw can get through, it's just a sliver. But that was all he needed. Mind you, what a big shot coming up on the 9 here with the cue ball close to that lung rail.
Yeah, this is missable. No doubt. Something has caught Jason's eye. He'll regroup.
That was superb. What they call a gut check. It was a knee knocker, and he just knocked it in smoothly. So, Jason Shaw has won 3 racks in succession after losing the previous 6, and that's why he's back in front at 7-6, needing a couple more to get through what's been a tough test. Andy Goldstein, 4-2 over Craig Lucas. Chris Reinhold, what a run out for him. He's 7-1 up on Tyler Steyer. That would be a great result for the former US Mosconi Cup player. It's going nicely as well for Skylar Woodward, who's attracted a big crowd on one of our streaming tables.
All right, he's leaked the one into the upper right now. We often talk about how the one gets past that side pocket point. Well, there, wasn't even close. He just swerved around the knuckle.
Well, I said it was going nicely for Skylar Woodward. He won 9-2 against Sean Wilkie. They're just putting their cues away.
It's going to be a 4-9 combination, Phil. We've had a couple of early 9s this match, and Shaw would be thrilled to knock this down.
Jason Shaw has not made things easy for himself in this contest, but now he's on the hill. He's leading by 8 racks to 6. Now, table 4 today, all of the action you can see on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. And over there, it is a very lopsided scoreline. Chris Reinhold leading Tyler Steyer 7-1 in a race to 9. Mind you, Steyer does have a chance here, and boy, does he need to take it.
You know, Chris works extremely hard on his game. Anybody that knows him is not surprised at this scoreline. I think it works both ways. Either player could do this to one another. Tyler doesn't give him much away, or excuse me, Tyler doesn't give much away, so I don't expect that he's just handed games over to Chris. Keep you updated on that score.
Now though, Scott, the end could be nigh, although The 5 going close to the 3 might complicate issues, but that was a cracking break from Shaw. 1 in the side and the 2 sitting there waiting to be potted.
Yeah, Phil, I believe the 3 does play to the upper left. I'll tell you one thing, he's not lacking in the break department. He knows he needs to be playing better to do well in this tournament, but boy, as good as he's breaking, he's got everything right in front of him, but did he get out far enough? He's acting like this is tight to the upper left. Oh boy, it looks pretty clear here. And it was. Maybe milking it a bit.
Well, there is a snooker player called the Milkman, Robert Milkins. I think he enjoys cider more than milk, actually, but that's another story.
What a crazy match. This has had everything in it. I mean, literally everything in this match. It's had it all. Just back out towards the center here. Perfect. 2 rails out. Could hold for the corner if you'd like. It's gonna come all the way out. Well, it did not look good for Shaw, leading 4-0, then trailing 6-4. But he got it done, Phil.
Yes, and I think that will do him more good than winning 9-0. He came through a tough examination there. What a strange match it was. Ebbs and flows, lots of momentum changes, but in the end it is Jason Shaw who goes into winners qualification with a 9-6 win over Edward Koyonjian of Indonesia. Shaw now plays Marvin Assis in winners qualification. As for us, we'll take a 5-minute break and return with one of the game's all-time giants, Shane Van Boening, up against JD Prestegard.
The new era begins. Game on with LiveSB.io. Big moments need bold partners. That's why Matchroom welcomes LiveSB.io, our official new sponsor for the World 9-Ball Tour. LiveSB.io brings cutting-edge sports entertainment to fans all around the world. Fast, smart, global. Same fire, same energy, new partnership. LiveSB.io, World 9-Ball Tour. Let's play.
We're back at the Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City for the US Open. It is one of the most prestigious events in the calendar.
Record breakers, history makers, it's that time. Let's play 9-ball.
Nine-ball pulls on the growth.
And the governor gets on the board.
Next year's prize money in the US Open is going to be $500,000.
The man they call the Ghost has left everyone for dead.
We will take this sport to places it's never been, and that's a bloody guarantee.
arena looks just spectacular, and I cannot wait for you all to see it.
Lulus, don't worry. Yeah, but plenty of guys who need to be ready. We're the champions. You need to come take it from me. You want to follow me in there next? Yeah, I think we're ready. All we've been doing is Can you speak English better, please speak? Because I ain't sure what you said.
When I play all the big tournaments around the world, we only use Aramith and Simonis. You know, you're getting 100% high quality. It just makes the game easier to play. Simonis and Aramith definitely have the best cloth and balls, hands down, in the game.
They call Orlando the City Beautiful, and it's easy to see why. We're here for the livesb.io Florida Open. The venue is the Carib Royale Resort, one of the very best venues I think pool has ever been played in. It is an absolutely terrific place, and we are privileged to be staying here as well as broadcasting from this tourist hub in the theme park capital of the world. Now, next up, having seen Jason Shaw in our first match today, it's another former US Open champion, 5-time US Open champion, Shane Van Boning, who's taking centre stage against, well, a mystery man for me, and also for Scott Frost. I asked him if he knew about JD Prestegard, and he said no. Didn't know him at all.
Yeah, I'm also not familiar. This is the practice rack, by the way. The match has not started, and you know, as we've seen so many times in the Open events, we kind of get a look at a player's level after a couple of racks in. Anyway, we've jumped over to table 2. Andy Goldstein is 5-2 up over Craig Lucas. We didn't get to see it, but at 4-2, Gale Force had an unbelievable fluke on the 9 to go 5-2 up. He just wants the template moving because the cue ball's going to roll over it.
Gale Force.
Well, that's his nickname. It says it on his shirt. Look, back of his shirt. We'll get a look in a minute.
Yeah, Gale Force Goldstein, I can see that. Slide Breeze Goldstein wouldn't quite have worked as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that's been said about that. But he's winning 5-2. Can he get his first win on the WNT?
I like your nickname, Carl. Box Office.
Yeah, that was very suitable for myself, that was.
Yeah, it's a pity your surname didn't begin with M, because we could have called you something along the lines of Modest. That's your personality, isn't it? Modest, shy, retiring, introverted.
Well, I'll tell you what wasn't Box Office. That safety attempt there from Mr. Goldstein. He's left a long pot here on the yellow 1.
Well, in fairness, as any safety shot in any cue sport's ever been box office. It would mean so much for Andy to win a match on the World 9 Ball Tour, and I think this is, well, undoubtedly his best chance so far. We'll keep you informed about that race to 8 on the loser's side. Now, SVB and his much lesser known opponent, a lag, and it is the outsider who gets to break first.
Well, it's a good opening break. Looks quite powerful. The one's gone in the side. Doesn't have an easy shot on the blue too, so it's going to be a safety. Well, he's got the hook, Phil. I think SVB is going to pull out the short cue. He's going to go airborne. It's near the pocket. He'll fancy this one. Flying through the air, the 2-ball disappears. Myself and Jeremy covered Shane's first round match yesterday, Phil. He played sublime. He's took the extension off his cue, and I'll tell you what, he looks on top form.
Yes, because he had one of the toughest first round draws you can get in Juan Carlos Exposito. Came through that 9-4. JD Prestegard also winning 9-4 against Maurice Duran of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, purple 5 didn't go past the brown 7, so Shane had to draw the cue ball back. One of these little sort of like cutback shots into the same pocket. Can't really get close to the 6 because of where the brown 7 was, so he's just took a sort of mid-ranger. He's having a look, so definitely goes, but you can probably just see a portion of the pocket and not the full pocket, so you kind of just double check on yourself.
I must say he's one of my favourite players to watch. Got all the shots, all the knowledge. Over 100 titles to his name. The one he wants most, of course, is that 6th record-breaking US Open title, which might be forthcoming in couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, he played a loose positional shot there. He was just shaking his head. I mean, I'm sure he'll still manage this, but yeah, you see how he's coming quite close to 9 and he's just run a little bit too far. He'll still take care of this, but I kind of know what he meant when he was shaking the old head. This 9 ball for rack 1.
And as you say, carrying on the form he showed last night, looks in really ominous nick. Now, when you think about Shane Van Boening, you naturally think about the US Open. The livesb.io US Open takes place at Harrah's Resort from August the 18th to the 23rd. We're heading to Atlantic City from here. I can tell you Van Boening's first opponent there will be Adam Cisneros, a fellow American. They made the draw yesterday. SVP and Earl Strickland are tied with most titles in the US Open, 5 each. And actually, Van Boening came close to number 6 last year, lost 13-10 to Fedor Gorst in the title match. He'll be one of 14 former champions there, and one of, well, so far at least, 94 American players in the field.
Yep, catching up where he left off. I think he made the one every single break in round 1.
One result I didn't give you that happened in between matches. Billy Thorpe is into winners qualification. Doesn't want the scratch, of course, and he avoids it. Yeah, Thorpe defeated Aaron Ragun Annan 9-3. So he now awaits either Elliot Sanderson or Connor McFadden.
If you are new to 9 ball and you're tuning in, any foul is ball in hand, 1 shot. Unlike other pool games where you put it behind the line, you can put it anywhere on the table, but you just get 1 shot. Jeremy Jones is still in the practice area, so I believe he's waiting for a table to be called. Things didn't go too well yesterday from Double J. Unfortunately lost his match. A result just in. Chris Reinhold beats Tyler Steyer 9 racks to 2. Kind of wants to come towards that gap really in between the brown 7 and the purple 5, just like so. He's played it to perfection. Now he'll play the cue ball above the 9 ball over towards the left side of the table. You know, we know he's a great player, one of the best that's ever done it, but his cue ball control is... it's stunning. 3 or 4 shots in this rack here. He's just landed on a dime. Jeremy Jones has entered the arena, Phil.
Yes, he's going to be gracing table 4. I'll use that word again, ominous, the way that Shane Van Boening has begun this match. 2-0 up, and he's playing beautifully. He's had a pretty good year, you know. Hasn't won a Matchroom Major yet, but he's won plenty of titles here in the United States, the US Open 10 ball and 8 ball. Big time classic 1 pocket, Midwest Billiards and Q Expo 1 pocket and 9 ball as well. So he's been doing okay, thank you. Now Andy Goldstein is doing better than okay, 6-2 up. Just a few balls away from being on the hill in this 1-loss side match against Craig Lucas.
That's not too bad. I mean, slightly overrun it. We'll keep you posted. We'll keep flicking over to table 2 and the other tables as much as we can.
Well, again, he's successful with the 1, but the 2 is not playing ball.
Yeah, it's going to be the push out or the roll out for SVB. Yeah, Shane's just looking where he wants to leave the cue ball. It's a fascinating part of the game, the push out. Like a game of chess. Tries to roll it somewhere where he spots something that his opponent can't. So there's the push out. JD will come to the table. He's got the option of playing or passing. And this is the situation in that rack, in rack number 9. This needs to bounce. Oh, he's left himself a little bit of a tester here.
Didn't have the correct side on that cue ball. It seemed to check up as opposed to throw a little wider. Yeah, this really is a tester.
I think he's missed it. He has. He's left it over the pocket, and that has just give Craig Lucas a bit of a lifeline here. Let's not forget, it's a race to 8 in the left side of the draw until the very last match, LQ we call it. 6-3. Goldstein's still in the lead though, but that was a chance to get on the hill.
Yeah, that will hurt, especially if Lucas can start chipping away and coming back.
Against a mere mortal, you might be happy with that safety, but not against Shane. I'm sure he will figure something out here. Delicately played. That's all he could really do. I mean, JD's got the option of a jump shot here, but sometimes you can only play what you can play. Got to be careful you don't send balls flying off the table.
Well, he made the contact, but the blue 2 is out of the open, and that's never recommended against someone like Van Boening, someone as exceptional as Van Boening. Man has won the Billiards Digest Player of the Year award no less than 6 times. He was Player of the Decade in the 2010s. World 8-ball champion in 2023, World 9-ball champion in 2022. That one meant an awful lot to him.
That just went in the heart of the pocket. Not ideal position in the red 3, but it was never going to be easy to get plumb. He knew just using the second rail there, he would guarantee himself a shot on the pink 4, and that's what he's done.
What impresses me about Van Boning, it's not just the fact he is so good at this game. It's the level of dedication. He's won everything there is to win, but his appetite for success is never assuaged.
You don't often see players bumping into other balls. Shane felt like there was no danger there.
And what I love about Shane Van Boning, the whole family steeped in pool tradition. Talk about coming from a pool dynasty, if you like. He's grown up around the game and grown into a giant of the game. In the Sunshine State, the sun is shining on Shane Van Boning. Yeah, just to give you some kind of family background as we go over to table 2 and have a look at Andy Goldstein. I'll tell you the Van Boning family story in a moment. Let's just concentrate on whether Andy can get over the line in this rack and get to the hill.
Wow, Craig Lucas just missed the 7-ball over the pocket, and that's what has got Andy to the table. He's just got 3 balls left. He's potted the first, 2 to go. And this is to get on the hill, and 7-3. It's a big old lead, that. So, big couple of balls here. That'll do. Nicely played. There's a lot of people around the pool community who think this is a bit of a gimmick, but Goldstein's a decent cueist, Phil. He's got a history himself in cue sports.
Absolutely. Good on you, Andy. He leads 7-3. Went to school as Ronnie O'Sullivan did in Essex. They went to the same school, actually.
Wow. I'm sure you make half of these stats up, Phil.
No? Very true. Yeah, I'll tell you about the Shane Van Boning family background in pool now. His grandfather, Gary Bloomberg, was a trick shot artist. His grandmother, Jean Bloomberg, a VNEA national champion. His mother, Timmy Bloomberg, a BCA national champion. And his aunt, Gary Jo Bloomberg, a 3-time VNEA national champion.
Well done, SVB there. That was all about distance.
In our previous match, if you're just joining us, it was quite a strange one, actually. Jason Shaw played nicely to lead Edward Keonjian 4-0, but then he missed a 9-ball from distance. Everything changed. Keonjian went 6-4 up, but Shaw gathered himself and won the last 5 racks. I can't imagine considering the way that Shane Van Boening started here and the level of opposition. I can't imagine that this one will turn in a similar direction. I think it's got one-sided written all over it.
I actually think Shane's really building up to the US Open. Listen, all his focus is clearly on the Florida Open. That's where we are. But he knows the US Open's around the corner, and how many more genuine attempts is he going to have to win that title? And you would think it's unlikely Earl the Pearl's going to win another to get 6. So I know Shane's desperate to get to 6. And I mean, will 6 ever be caught? Be tough to see.
Well, just being devil's advocate, Fedor Gorsht, he's only 25 years of age, but even for him, having got one under his belt, even for him to go on to 6, that would be something extraordinary.
He'll kind of just roll the cue ball through in between the 7 and the 9 here. That takes away hooking himself behind the 7. He'll just fall on the 6. Yeah, you see the cue ball come in that little window.
Talking US Open, the likes of Mika Immonen won back-to-back. So too Darren Appleton. The late Buddy Hall. He won a couple of US Opens as well, but to get to 5, I think it just underlines how good Van Boening is. Other multiple winners, the likes of Nick Varner and David Howard. Mike Siegel, he won 3. Alan Hopkins 2. Here, Shane Van Boening is putting on a masterclass, looking extremely good, and he leads by 4-0. By the way, the winner of this match will take on either Hunter Lombardo or Sergio Lagunas Moreno in winners qualification. Sergio, part of the team that does such a wonderful job when it comes to our live scoring. And if you want to keep up to date with all of the scores from all of the tables here at the Carib Royale Resort, just go on to WNTLivescoring.com and they will be available for you. Not just from here, but from all of the tournaments on the World 9-Ball Tour as well. 7-4 Andy Goldstein, so still 1 away from achieving his ambition of winning a match on the World 9-Ball Tour. Some big players still to enter the fray in the second round. Lo Ho Sum, former World Masters finalist, takes on Lo Li Wen. Mickey Kraus, he's going to be in action a little later against Michael Malkowski. Max Lechner taking on Edward Epperson later. And Vitaly Patsyura, keep an eye on him, the Ukrainian, up against Nathan Childress. So, a number of second round matches still to be completed.
This is what being a pool player, professional pool player, is about. Off the break, Shane's left off where he started yesterday. He's made the one every time, and as where yesterday he had a couple of shots of the lowest ball. As in pots, as in easy pots, today has been a different story. He's had to push out, he's had to play safe, he's got to use the imagination. Is he trying to get the cue ball in behind the purple 5? He is, the cheeky little devil, he is. He was also using the brown 7 there, Phil, so the ball didn't pot in the corner. That was like a bit of an insurance policy. You'll learn, buddy, you'll learn.
Well, I know one thing already. I'll use that word again. Modesty oozing from every pore of Carl Boyes.
Not a nice place to be if you're JD Prestegard, let me tell you. 4-0 down. Probably feels like he couldn't win a rack if he stayed here for 12 months.
How was your record against Van Boning individually, not Mosconi Cup?
Well, talking about being modest, I actually beat him in the final of a Bigfoot event. Who's done that, Phil? The footage is on YouTube, it's there to be seen. I looked a little bit slimmer back then, granted, but I beat him in the final.
Is that the 10-foot by 5 tables?
Oh yes, that's where the big boys play, Phil. That is not for the faint-hearted, that table. And I'd done a number on him. It was at the Harrah's Resort Casino near Graceland. I went to see Elvis's house. It was a great week. Yeah, dusted Shane off the table, no problem.
So he was all shook up.
Don't get me wrong, he's beat me a good few times since, I've got to be honest. One match that stands out was a singles match. If I'd have beat him, he beat me 5-4. He broke off at Hill Hill, hooked himself on the break. He pulled the jump cue out, nailed the shot, won the match 5-4 and cost me MVP. That was the only point I lost that year. I was burgled.
Well, on table 2, Andy Goldstein closing in on victory.
Well, I remember when Bazza, the boss, nailed the combo and give an almighty roar. What's Gale Force gonna do if he knocks these 2 balls in? First ever W on the circuit. He needs to play a good shot here. He's got to get as easy as possible on the 9. That is not as easy as possible on the 9. He's got work to do here. He gives a wry smile. It's this 9 ball to win the match.
He's wearing his lucky trousers today, the ones he always practices in, back at Spots and Stripes in Bermondsey in London. Will the trousers work the oracle? Oh no! Andy, what have you done? What have you done?
It's Mr. 9 to win the match. And the match goes on. Greg Lucas pulls another one back. 7-5 over on table 2. He'll be kicking himself.
Could get a little smelly over there now, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you, Phil. That's got Hill Hill written all over it. Anyway, back to the feature table. Look at the situation we've got here. Another break, and it's another push out for Shane.
I'm shooting no matter what.
JD Prestegard saying, I'm shooting no matter what. I think he's had such a limited amount of table time. He just wants to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, knock it up the rail. Oh, yes, what a beauty. Might be the best shot of the match. Maybe forced into the cross bank here, though. I don't think he can get through to the potting angle. Do we have a score update for our colleague, Jeremy Jones? You could just see him in the distance there. He's playing out on table, I don't know if it's 3 or 4, it's one of them anyway.
Table 4 still first rack.
Yeah, there's no rushing Jeremy Jones. He likes to take his time around the bays.
We're picking up the slack, of course. We're the old ones out first.
Yeah, with Mr. Trick not entering. Sky have a few matches. Must be nice. That was a miss hit. He was trying to hit it a little thinner. That gets the cue ball back down the bottom of the table and at least leave some distance. JD's straight in here. Wow, sorry Phil, I was looking at table 2 just above our screens. I've just seen a maniac shot from Craig Lucas. He's made the 9 ball. I don't know if we get a replay of this. It was wild.
I'm told no replay, but our prediction of Hill is getting a little closer. 7-6 now.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't bring you a replay, but if you're following all our pages on social media, that's Matcha and Pool, I'm sure the boys out back will put that on the Facebook and the Instagram. It's a wild shot.
Well, here, JD Prestegard should at least avert the whitewash. Oh, but that's a really poor one. Neither here nor there. It's looking a little bleak now. Chance well and truly wasted. (6-0) when you get the odd opportunity against Shane Van Boning, it pays to take it, otherwise you are going to be swamped. JD Prestegard now in danger of leaving the match with a bagel.
Table 2, it's 7-6. Andy Goldstein was 7-3 up about 10 minutes ago. The previous rack, Craig Lucas, played a crazy bank shot, fired the 1 ball onto the 9. The 9 ball rattled, stayed over the pocket, but the 1 kept going through and knocked the 9 in. It was wild. Goldstein's missed the 9 ball to win the match. Let's not forget, he's never won a match on the circuit yet. This is what he's playing for, and we'll be back to keep you posted. S3B to break, he's made the 1 every single break over 2 days of play. And I knew he wouldn't let us down there, Phil. But he just can't get a shot on the lowest ball.
Yeah, it's going to be another push out. Explain the push out to our